I'm just gonna break every single marketing rule that I know I should be doing, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna stop caring about that. I'm posting this on YouTube. Yes, you see it, my channel. This is super random, uh, but I play a lot of fantasy football, and when you get on the apps, there's news. And one of the things I saw is that there's a player who had a pretty nice touchdown, uh, pretty standard, like very great play, and supposedly you know, I don't know what I'm allowed to say on YouTube, but he ended his life. He personally tragically ended his life. And supposedly I saw somewhere someone said that it was because he was in a argument and a dispute with his girlfriend or something, and couldn't handle it, didn't know how to handle it. Supposedly that's what happened. Grapevine or true or false, whatever it may be. That's not the point. The point is that I felt called as a guy, because I've seen this pop up a lot. I've been praying a lot to see the direction of this business and where to take it, what to do, whether to roll it, wrap it up, and just be like, I'm done with this, I'm tired. But then when this came up, it was actually in line with a couple things I've seen about relationships. And as a man, I know I get a lot of flack for this, especially if you ever say this on anything public. You as a guy have guy problems that women, your wife, your girlfriend will never understand. It's not because they're wrong, it's not because you're wrong, it's because you have responsibilities that when you start to speak on it and tell people about them, it does put it on them. And when it puts it on them, they feel that they have to take it on. Like whether they actually do or not, there is a feeling that you are now required to, like, what am I supposed to do with this information, kind of thing. That's how I think of it. Whenever anyone tells you anything, that's what goes in my head. Like, what am I supposed to do with that information? Not in like a sarcastic tone, but legitimately, like, you're telling me this for a reason. So if your spouse, your wife asks you, how are you doing? What do you usually say? I'm fine. What does I'm fine mean? In psychology, we call it fucked up, neurotic, something like that. But it's a mask, right? And the times I've ever felt like, just a disclaimer, because I work in mental health care and I'm a responsible person. If you have anything kind of abuse, domestic abuse, stress, anything where you feel like harm can happen physically, emotionally, go find a professional. I'm not a therapist, I'm not a counselor, I'm not a medical professional, I'm not legal, psychiatric, financial, anything. This is for education and entertainment, and everything you do is your responsibility, and I take no part of your role. Your success, your failure is all your responsibility. That's a basic disclaimer I have to put out, because people are dumb and don't know how to understand those concepts and take personal accountability. Speaking of personal accountability, there are times where you sit there and you're like, dude, what's the point? This is so hard. Like, why am I still doing this? And I tell my clients, you're allowed to complain. That's complaining. But what's the solution? And I will never say that ending things is the solution, but I will recognize that, dude, sometimes it's hard. And if you don't have the systems and tools in place in order to overcome those problems, when you are emotionally swept up in a problem, you don't think clearly. It's called flooded. It's emotional flooding. There's a certain, it's like a boiling point. As I tell people, when you boil water, it's not the single point that boils it, it's the compounding effect that boils over. Like if you threw water into a 100 degree heat, whatever, I don't know, I'm just talking off the cuff. It doesn't just all of a sudden boil, it has to slowly roll up to that boil. I don't know physics. I dropped out of my physics program because I'm not that smart. Hence why I did psychology. And if you've ever read James Clear's Atomic Habits, talks about, and I as much as I have knocked on any of those guru kind of things, the main point is that you fall back to your system. If you don't have a system, what do you fall back on? That's why I read the Bible every day. That is my system. I have a basic set of standards that I can fall back to. Whenever I get stressed, whenever I get flooded, whenever I get worried, I can fall back to a system. And the system I created and crafted, and I'm sure I'm not the first one to quote unquote say this, because every system's the same. Like McDonald's runs the same system, Starbucks runs the same system, everything you do is the same system, all marriages are the same system, all people are the same system. As I say, you are unique, but you're not special. Like whenever you go through an emotional problem, there's a system you run through. And I use this for business, and this is where I'm pivoting. In business, I teach Recognize, reframe, redirect. Recognize where there's a problem. Your ads aren't working. Your sales aren't coming in. Okay, let's reframe that. Why is it, instead of complaining, how do you reframe it to create a solution, and then you redirect your energy and attention to that? So I wanted to come on here because somehow with Thursday Night Football, that's going to pop up with mental health, and November, No Nut November, No Shave November, all those things. It's important to think about how I can give back. And the one thing I want to do is, I had a moment there because I was thinking about, and I think I might have mentioned this, times I've thought about doing what happened were based on my relationships. I didn't know how to handle it. And ironic, right? Like, oh, here's a guy trying to tell me, give me a system to do it, but he doesn't do it. No, that's not the right way to say it. I do it, but there definitely comes a point where you get so emotionally flooded that you forget the system, but you can go back to it before you get there. The point I'm trying to share here is that you can't stop the train once it's rolling, but what you can do is hopefully you have that in your mind where you prevent it from happening. So the basic system is recognize, reframe, redirect. I call it the R3 OS or R3 operating system. The reason it's called operating system, number one, I don't want to say I work in tech. I work in data, front-end development, funnel building, website design. And all website design is a basic structure, right? Like when you think of HTML, you can actually literally go spend your time, energy, and effort writing out the HTML page, put the header, put the footer, put the body, put the paragraphs, put the breaks, write the JavaScript, whatever you want to do. Or you can use a funnel builder. Like, it's just drag and drop. It's the same thing. A headline is a headline is a headline, a section is a section is a section, row is a row is a row, a button is a button is a button. I'm not going to waste my time trying to type all that out when I just copy and paste it or drag and drop. In the same sense, rather than you trying to figure this out on your own, which you're going to come to the same conclusion that we all, I'm going to share with you, where you can find online, self-help, blah, blah, blah. Here, just take this. Recognize, reframe, redirect. Whenever you start to feel that gut feeling of this is going badly, recognize it. What was happening? What's making you feel is going badly? I want you to think about what's the situation popping up right now, because it's usually not a new situation. It might be a new version of an old situation that's just popping up. It's kind of like how whenever the money problem comes in, it gets more stress. Like $100 to you 10 years ago is probably the equivalent of $1,000 now, hopefully, if after 10 years you've progressed that far. So a $100 loss now doesn't feel as bad, but a $1,000 loss is going to feel bad, so you understand that concept. So you recognize what is happening, and then you reframe it. Most people recognize a problem, and then they look at the problem, they say, they just complain about it. When you recognize a problem, you just complain about it. But when you recognize and you reframe it, you look at the problem and say, okay, my wife is complaining about the dishes again. It's never about the dishes. It's about the fact that you said you were going to do it. It's about the fact that you said you were going to do it, and that reminds her of when you said you were going to do other things, or you lied to her, or you cheated on her, you did whatever thing it may be. So it's not about the dishes, it's about what that brings up in her. That's the reframe part. What is it bringing up in you? When you recognize it, and you get a feeling, you get a visceral response, what is it showing about you? Now that you understand that, how do you reframe it to redirect the energy? Because when your wife comes at you and starts to complain and blame you, and something I saw from my coach and one of the fellow coaches I know, it may be 100% her fault. She may be adding to it, she may be causing it, she may be putting more gas on the fire. But that doesn't mean that you let that dictate your emotional state and your actions. So what are you willing to do? Once you recognize that something was happening, how do you reframe the situation and create and redirect the energy? Because in psych, we say maybe, it depends. Marketing, all life comes down to maybe, it depends, gray area. But I'm starting to believe that it should just be black and white, yes or no. I wouldn't even say good and bad, because certainly not everybody, the people are different. But in situations like this, when you have a situation, it's like, as a guy, you probably want to throw something, you want to like punch a wall, break a pen, you want to do something, you want to go lift. Or you can either scream at your wife or scream into a pillow. That is black and white thinking. Like, you can take a bad action, or you can look for a better solution. I will never say there's a best solution, because it depends on you. Hence the recognition piece. Recognize in your situation what's going on. Reframe for your situation with what you know, what's going on. Redirect based on your situation and what's going on. So anytime I start to feel upset worried, stressed, not just in relationship, not just in my marriage, with my child, anything, stop and recognize what's going on. The best time to do it is like before it even starts. Because again, it's hard to stop a rolling train, right? Because let's say you're on the train, you're riding it, and then you realize, I'm not going the right direction. You can't really just tell them to stop, right? It's going to take a mile to stop the train. Versus if you recognize before you get on the train, is this the right train? Recognize, reframe, okay, this is not going to work, this is going to work. And you redirect. You literally, okay, screw it, I'm going to go wherever this train's going to take me. Or this is not the right train, this is not where I want to go, so I'm going to go off and do something else. Redirect. I don't know, this isn't going to be a great YouTube video, this isn't going to go viral or anything, but this is something I felt called to help my fellow dudes out. Like, anytime I get on a group chat, there's always a relationship piece going on. Because at the end of the day, all of life comes down to relationships. Your relationship with me watching this. Your relationship with the caption, the title, whatever it may be that pops up and you're like, oh, maybe something here is going to work. Your relationship with your spouse, your relationship with your dog, your relationship with your kids, your relationship with money, your relationship with your business partner. It's all about the relationship. And I hope somehow this guides you today and somewhere along the line. Hopefully it's not in super drastic sense, rather in a way that you see, oh, here's a problem I can recognize. Let me reframe and redirect. If it makes you more money in business, awesome. Go forth and use that. Reframe. Just don't steal this. Recognize, reframe, redirect. If it helps you in a relationship where you're about to get upset because she's complaining about that thing again, even though she never told me that, recognize, reframe, redirect. If the kids are bouncing off the wall and you're like, oh my God, I just had the worst work day and this meeting went to crap and the sales page went to crap, the sales call was terrible. Recognize, are you taking it out on them because you're having a bad day, or do they actually need correction? Reframe your mind and what you see, like literally like a glasses frame. Like the way I see now versus now is completely different based on your frame of reference, hence why it's called a frame. And then redirect. Like you have all this energy, you have to spend it one way or the other, right? You can either go do this or you can go do this. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. Kind of the same, the end result for you is the same as a man, but there is a different kind of energy and direction. You take it between this and this. Think about it that way. So again, super messy, just talking off the cuff, gonna post it on YouTube. Someone's gonna find this, laugh at me. Someone's gonna find this and be like, holy crap, that saved my life. Yeah, dude, go into life. Like find little pockets of joy that make you enjoy. Anyways, this is Lawrence with Prompted to Profit in peace, love, and light, wherever you're listening to, watching from. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Signing off.